Okay, great. So it looks like people can hear me. So we're going to get started because it is, well, we still have one more minute to 3:30, but I want to welcome you all. I want to also let you all know that this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our website. So people can go back and relive the experience if they'd like to, or share it with other people on their team. A couple of people are still working on getting the audio going. Just a couple logistics before we get started is everybody will remain on mute while we do the quick presentation, and then when we open it up for questions, we will unmute everybody, but you'll still have to unmute yourself on your line. So we'll unmute on this side, we'll let you know when you're unmuted, and then if you have a question, you can unmute yourself on your line. So people are still having a few issues, but hopefully they'll get resolved as we go along. We have the amazing Hannah Johnson doing all our logistics for us, and she'll help everybody out getting involved. Okay, so we're going to get started. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Best Starts for Kids Youth Development RFP webinar, and this is one of 5 opportunities to learn a little bit more about the RFP and ask questions if you need them. So we are going to just jump right in and get started. Today we're going to, this is what we're going to cover. We have Best Starts for Kids. What is the Best Starts for Kids? So I'm sure 99% of you know what it is, so we'll be very brief on that. An overview of the youth development strategy and how it differs from other strategies. Overview of the RFP, a little bit on data and where you can find it, and then we can do some question and answers. We're going to be, you can contact us anytime through the Skype if you're online, or over the phone once we unmute you. And so we are really looking forward to your questions. The bulk of this presentation is going to be question and answer because we want to make sure that everybody gets the information they need to be successful. So what is Best Starts for Kids? Best Starts for Kids is a comprehensive prenatal to 24 investment by King County to support all the kids and youth in King County. This is our vision. We want kids to want to see more babies and born healthy, more kids thriving, more young people to grow up and be happy, healthy, successful adults. And we get this way through promotion, prevention, and early intervention, and also systems and policy change to support all that good work. The youth development work really falls in the promotion and a little bit of the prevention. Promotion is really talking about increasing the good things that are available to young people in our county. And then there are some opportunities for prevention work as well in this funding opportunity. We're gonna pop right in. We have 80 people on, which is super exciting. We're gonna do a quick little poll and find out where you all are, because this is very interesting to us. Apparently the audio is really breaking up, so we're also going to work on that. For those of you on the phone, I'm going to unmute you really quickly. If I can figure out how to do that. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm a little new to this. So I'm going to unmute you if you'd like to chime in if you're on the phone, where you are. What area do you or your organization serve? We have North King County, South King County, East King County, Seattle, and all of King County. So if anybody wants to chime in, they can. So far, South King County is in the lead with 31%. It's a horse race, though. Seattle's got 28%. Ooh, all of King County is at 36%. Ooh, it's very exciting. 6% of East King County. This is fun. Oh, 39%, 41% of all King County. Wow. Oh, people are texting into Vashon. Neat. Excellent. Oh, we're up to 93 participants. Does somebody want to chime in? All right. That's great. Okay, I'm going to take everybody off of mute and put mute on. So it looks like we have 29% South King County, 9% of East King County, 22% in Seattle and all of King County, 40%. We have 0% from North King County, but that might be because we're heading to Kenmore tomorrow, so everybody's going to join us in person. Well, great. Thank you. That was fun. I enjoyed it. I'll bring the presentation back. We'll talk a little bit about our approach for youth development. We are looking at about $5.9 million of investment for the biennium. The King County biennium is 2018, and so it's about 5.9% over the biennium. It's to support CBOs, municipalities, schools, other nonprofits for programs for kids 5 to 24 in mentoring, youth leadership and engagement, healthy and safe relationships, positive identity development. Yeah. So, and that's our main approach. And then, as you all may know, probably in late September, we have another bucket of funding that is coming through to support out-of-school time funding. And there have been a lot of questions. What's the difference between youth development and out-of-school time? Because a lot of out-of-school time focuses on the development of our youth, which is what we're talking about here too. So I wanted to point out some of the differences that are in those two buckets. One is a little bit obvious, that there's time of day funding, time of day of the programming. So out of school time, shockingly, has to happen out of the time that kids are in school. So either after school or during the summer. The out of school time strategy is still being formed, but we're really looking at tying out of school time with the summer because there's a lot of research behind the fact that high quality programming spans the whole school year and summer. So out of school time will probably have that requirement in it as well. Dosage is how much program and how often. Again, based on research, there's a lot of research that high quality after school programming really is more effective if it hits a certain threshold of days and hours that the kids are involved with the program. Youth development will not have that constraint in it. So, so youth development can happen anytime during the day and can happen at different times for different lengths. You could have a youth development program that happens one Saturday a month. It could be for, a whole Sunday or something like that, but it doesn't have a specific dosage attached to it. And then involvement in specific high quality assessment. Most of you probably are aware of the youth program quality assessment, which is a way of measuring and assessing quality of youth programs. And the out-of-school time funding will be tied in some way to that YPQA system. That will not be the case for the youth development system. we highly recommend and will work with you about doing quality, continuous quality improvement, but it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to that specific quality assessment. And then there's the ages served. Youth development is for 5 to 24-year-olds. And so anybody in that range. The out-of-school time will most likely emphasize the elementary and middle school age children. So if that helps you decide which bucket of funding you should go for, that is the information for that. These are funding specifics. We're expecting to fund a range of applications for levels up to $200,000 a year for up to 3 years. Again, we're looking for a range. There's some organizations who may want to be at a lower range. Some may want to be at the higher range. So we're looking for anything. But the maximum is $200,000 a year. And that also, you can also, when you do your budget, if you're ramping up a program, you may need less for planning and development and more in year 2 and more in year 3, and that's perfectly acceptable as well. It just it can't max over $200,000 for the year. The year 3, as I mentioned, the King County budgets on the biennium, and this biennium goes through 2018. And so the year 3 funding will be dependent on King County budget approval. So we just want to make everybody aware of that. We don't know how many applications we're going to get, and we don't know what the amounts will be. So we won't know how many people are going to be funded. I know that's people want to know how many organizations are going to get this funding, and we frankly don't know. We're excited to see what comes up. This is our timeline. Very important. The RFP was issued on June 29th. We're having our information sessions now. The final day to ask questions, and after today, or if you come to another in-person information session, you can ask questions. You can't, the King County policy says that you can't ask questions directly to an agency. It has to go through Linda McKinley and procurement, and her emails on the front page of the RFP. And so if you have any questions after today that you didn't get answered and you want to reach out, you have to reach out directly through her. And then she'll get it to the right person. She'll either answer it directly or she'll get it to the right person. The final day to ask questions is August 3rd. The reason for that is that we collect all the questions and the answers and we'll put them up online, and we won't have a cutoff date for those questions. So please get your questions in before August 3rd. The most important date and time is August 10th at 2 o'clock. As you probably have heard us say, we're trying to do things differently in King County, but we still are in King County, in the county system. So we have some hard deadlines, and August 10th at 2 o'clock is one of those hard deadlines, and the application has to be in procurement's hands by 2 o'clock on the 10th. I urge you to get this done early. I know that never happens with with grant writing, but please don't be disqualified just because you get it in at 2:01. So it does have to be handed. We need a hard copy and 2 USB jump drives with your application on it and budget, and that does have to be physically handed in or mailed in. Again, we're working within the confines of the county, so I am working to change that to have a more user-friendly way of submitting applications. But until that time, we are, I don't know if you can see it, they're really cute. We are giving away USBs for people to submit their application. So a little bit further on in the slideshow, there'll be my slide with my email address. You can email me and I will send these to you. I will send 2 of them to you. So for you to submit your application. So please do that. If you come to an in-person information session, I'll be giving these away too. So if you're coming to one, save me the postage, but you can send them. And then we may want to have interviews with applicants, and so that will happen after the RFP is closed. We will be reviewing and rating and deciding on the applicants. We hope to have them selected by September 12th and the announcement on September 15th. The asterisk on the top says subject to change if necessary. So please keep that in mind, that the timeline may change if necessary. We can go to the next slide. We have some submission requirements. As I mentioned, it has to be in King County, in the hands in Chinook by August 10th at 2 o'clock. The narrative should really be no more than 5 pages. We tried to make this application as direct and streamlined as possible. So we are looking for the same in the answers. So tell us why you want to do this, how you're going to do it, and why you think you're going to be good at doing it, and let us know. Make sure you sign the cover page. I have the RFP here, my hot little hands. There's a cover page that needs to be signed as well. We are working on revising the budget form. Some of you might have noticed that there are some quirks to it. So we are revising that, and that will be uploaded onto the same procurement website as before. I also wanted to let you know that there is a list that you can sign up for on that procurement website where the RFP is, that you can automatically, if you sign up for it, you can automatically get emails if the RFP is updated or there are any messages about it. So I would highly recommend doing that, just so you know when I upload the new budget form, for example. Just looking at my list from procurement, making sure I don't forget anything else. All right, that looks good. Thank you, James, for appreciating the 5-page limit. All right, so we are on to the rating criteria. Clear discussion, description of need. We're really looking for youth and community involvement, clear program focus and goals, and looking to make sure your goals are achievable within the funding time frame. So can you get this done, what you're saying, in 2 or 3 years? We do have technical assistance available. These lovely folks we've contracted with 3 providers, and they would love to take your calls and emails about help with your application. We have, Hannah's going to upload an attachment that looks like this, and it has their bios in it, and you can read their bios and figure out who might be the best person to work with. This is at no cost to the provider, to the community-based organizations, and we're really excited to be able to offer this to people, especially for small organizations who may not have, access to grant writers and things like that. So please take advantage of that. All right, well now I'm going to invite my colleague Sophia to come talk about data and evaluation, and she can talk to you about how we are thinking about data and evaluation in BSK and specifically for this RFP. Thanks, be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia Ayala and I'm part of the evaluation team for Best Starts for Kids, and I just wanted to take a moment to talk about our approach to evaluation. As you can see on the slide, we are highlighting partnership, collaboration, and accessibility, and those are very important elements for us. We really want to work with you on evaluation. We're not expecting people to be evaluation experts. If you have a lot of experience with evaluation, that's great. We encourage you to tell us about it. But if you don't, we're also interested in working with you around your evaluation goals. So to that end, we aren't expecting people to provide an evaluation plan in their application, but we are asking that applicants build evaluation into their budgets. So allocate some resources towards data collection activities, reporting, participating in learning circles might be an element for the strategy as well. So just to show us your commitment to evaluating your programs and to continuously improving quality as you go along. So actually, I wanted to just highlight this handout here, which is an data and evaluation handout that's actually available on our website. And I think Hannah was going to post the link to it for you all. But you can actually, if you're on the phone, you can also find this if you go to our website under background information on the left-hand sidebar. You can find this to download. And it talks a bit more on the front side about our approach to evaluation. So a lot of things I just said. And on the back side, there's actually some more information about how to use data and other information to tell your story. So this can be a really useful resource to you as you're crafting your application. And I just want to highlight that to us, data is not just numbers, but we're also interested in stories and other types of information that you might be able to bring in, such as photos, to help to tell your organization's story. And really, those stories and data can be brought in to do a couple of things. One is to talk about the need that you're trying to address and about inequities that you're trying to address, but also to tell us why your organization is uniquely suited to do this type of work. So about your capacity. And then at the bottom of that page, there's a little resources section. So I don't know if people can see this very well, but at the bottom, resources. And the first one is our BSK indicators page. So we'll look a little bit more at that, but I also want to point out there's a few other resources here that you might want to check out as well. So we'll just go ahead and transition over to that Best Starts for Kids indicators site. So this is on our website and accessible to everyone. Just take us a moment to get there. Great. Yeah, so this is the Best Starts for Kids indicators site. So this is a great place to go to learn more about Best Starts for Kids evaluation and to find out more about these indicators. And so what we mean by indicators is this is population level data that we are going to be tracking throughout the Best Starts for Kids initiative that really helps us to understand how the county is doing around our Best Starts for Kids goals. So at the top you see there are 4 areas, and for 5 through 24 we have King County as a place where everyone has equitable opportunities to be safe and healthy as they progress through childhood, building academic and life skills to be thriving members of their communities. So we've selected a bunch of indicators that kind of help us to show how we're doing. And these are long-term aspirational sort of visionary goals. So we're not expecting any one organization to, for example, change high school graduation rates, but we're hoping that we'll be working together collectively with BSK and other initiatives, things going on in the county, to collectively try to work on high school graduation rates, for example. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about navigating the site. So if we just scroll down a little bit, there's 2 kind of search bars that can help you to find what you're looking for. So the first one says sort by result area. So that shows the 4 Best Starts for Kids results. And this request for proposals is part of 5 through 24. So we could click on that. And then that brings up all of the 5 through 24 indicators. And there's also a second bar where you can sort by headline or secondary. And what that means is headline, those are more kind of long-term indicators that we know would take longer to change. Secondary are things that are a little bit more tied to the investment areas and that we think could shift over a shorter period of time. And there's also a free text search bar as well. So if there's just something you're looking for, like, for example, grades, you're interested in information about school grades, you could just type in grades and find all the indicators that mention grades. So I think we'll just run through a quick example here. So for example, if you have an idea for a mentoring program that's going to work with high school aged kids, you might be interested, and it's going to be adult mentors, you might be interested in how many kids in King County report that they have an adult that they can talk to about important things. So we could scroll down, and yep, there's an indicator called adult support here. Click on that. Great, and then this map pops up. So we have this interactive visualization here. And before we look at it some more, I just wanted to point out that at the top of every visualization, there's a notes and sources tab. So that'll give you more information about where this data comes from, if it's from a survey, like what the survey question that was used was, and some links to additional information. So if we just go back to the summary tab, so most of these visualizations will have a map on their summary tab. And this one is broken out by region. So you can see that for overall in King County, for the Healthy Youth Survey, which is youth in 8th, 10th, and 12th grades, the overall average was 75% of youth reporting that they had an adult that they could turn to. But there's some variation. Actually, in the East King County, it's a little higher than the average. South, it's a little bit lower. And over in the Seattle region, it's similar to the King County average. So you can kind of see there's some geographic variation. And then if we go to the next tab, which is the demographics tab at the top, you actually see the data broken out. So you see that 75% at the top for King County. And then we have bars for different demographic groups. So we have gender, grade level, remember I mentioned 8th, 10th, and 12th, race, ethnicity, and then those regional numbers. So that helps you dig a little bit deeper. And then the next tab shows you trends over time. So that can be helpful if you want to talk about a persistent problem in the county. Now, I just wanted to point out that you might not find all of the data that could support your application, because in some cases it might not exist. For example, you might want to talk about youth with a positive sense of self, and that might not be easy to find data, might not exist. So we really encourage you to talk about what you've seen from your own experiences, to bring in stories, client stories, even quotes from clients that you work with. So I mentioned photos, other things like that. And then, you might also find, too, that you want to work in East King County, for example, where actually the number's a little higher than the average, but you see really, pockets of need that you see in your community or with certain groups in that area. So we encourage you to tell us about that if your experience doesn't reflect the data as well. That's really useful for us to understand as well. And then, so I think we'll just... so you can spend a lot of time exploring the site later, but for now we'll go back to the PowerPoint. And so the second point here is around your capacity to meet the needs. So again, bringing in data or other information can be helpful here to help us to show how your organization is uniquely suited to do this work. So that could be performance data. If that's something that you collect right now, it could be, percent of outcomes, percent of clients meeting certain outcomes. It could be satisfaction survey data. If that's not something you could do, it could be success stories from clients that you've worked with, or even quotes from clients that you've worked with. And then we also want you to think not just about performance measurement data, but also about other information, other data you might be collecting that could be helpful. So, for example, if you're an organization that plans to focus on working with youth from a particular cultural background, and you have a large number of staff from that cultural background, tell us about that. Tell us what percentage of your staff are from that background and why you think that would help you to do the work well. So that's just a quick summary around bringing in data and stories. So feel free to check out this handout that you can find on our website, and check out the indicator site, and then the other links to other data sources on the handout as well. All right. Thank you very much. And oops, just timed out. So I will turn things back over to Megan.
Great, thanks, Sophia. I'm going to log us back in here. I don't know if anybody else can see that. Great, thank you. And Sophia's going to stick around so she can answer any of your questions. Now we are open for questions. I'm going to start by saying there are a lot of people on this webinar. I'm going to unmute everybody. So if you're on the phone, you can speak up. Remember, you have to unmute yourself on your end too. And but if you asked a question,
No.
Sure.
if you asked a question before and we haven't answered it yet, please ask it again. That's how the questions went. We are okay. We're going to start with one that we did catch earlier about references. Do references count in page limit? The page limit is really, the 5 pages is really for the narrative answers. It doesn't count the cover letter. It doesn't count the budget. The budget itself is 3 pages long, so that's really fair. If you do pictures or a video, that obviously doesn't count to your page limit anyway, either. I'm not being rigid about the page limit. It's not as if we're going to stop reading after page 5, but we are really encouraging people to be to the point and concise without putting massive rigid, character count limits or anything in boxes. So, but we really would like, we expect to receive a lot of applications. I want to be fair to our review panel with the number of pages that we write, that we want to be able to read and thoughtfully score. And so please keep to the 5 as much as possible. That would be helpful. Somebody's asking what will make for a competitive proposal? Is there anything specifically that they should look at? I think that we have a pretty clear rating criteria it's in the RFP itself that shows less competitive, more competitive. We're looking for organizations that can clearly state what they want to be doing and that have really genuine youth and community involvement in the development, implementation, and evaluation of their programs. Youth voice is very important. So we want to make sure that our youth are getting the services that they want and they're interested in. Is there anybody on the phone that would like to ask a question? No one? Okay. Is there a section that helps the decision? As I often say, for reviewing of proposals, the scoring is really just a jumping off point, whereas we have all the reviewers will review and score the ones in their group, and then we'll have a very rich conversation about it, and many things will be taken into consideration. So the score is just a jumping off point. Yes, we did recently post an RFQ for TA consultants. That is not connected to this RFP at all. We have contracted with the 3 that I showed before, the 3 consultants, to do the technical assistance for this RFP because we knew that RFQ wouldn't come out in time to supply the support for this RFP. So we have that RFQ out. Is it a conflict of interest if an organization applies to the TA consultant RFP and the BSK RFP that we've talked about today, or future BSK RFPs? It is certainly not a conflict of interest to apply for the youth development RFP and respond to the RFQ for technical assistance. I'd have to think about it for future RFPs. If you're helping people write an RFP and you're writing one, there might be just there, but I can get back to you on the answer to that question. My question is on the form. Should I wait for the new budget sheet and then contact you if I'm still confused? People are learning that Excel is not my friend. Yes, please wait for the next budget to be uploaded. If you still have questions, please feel free to reach out through Linda. Do we have the application form included? You don't have to use it. We worked hard on it, but you don't have to use it. But just make sure that you're answering all the questions and all the parts of the questions and all those. We have the summary. We know, if you're doing mentoring, youth development, positive identity development, things like that. The strategy areas are listed. I think it's easier if you use the application. What font do you use? One that's not too small. Hopefully, Arial, normal font would be fine. 12 points. I am getting old, so. So how do I do that? Somebody's asking, they want to ask a question over the phone. They should be, you have to unmute on your side. You are muted here, so you should just be able to ask. Is anybody there? Again, you have to unmute yourself. Does BSK or King County have a published indirect rate? We are not doing an indirect rate for the BSK budgets and applications. We are asking people to request funding that covers the costs they have for programs. So if you need money for keeping the lights on or food or things like that are really important elements, make sure it's in your budget. Budget for what you need to run your programs. We're not doing an indirect rate. Should we be submitting letters of support? You can if you want to. It is not a requirement. I think if you're working in collaboration with another organization, an MOU or a clear description of how your collaboration is set up would be really important. But letters of support are not absolutely necessary. No, they're not necessary at all, actually. Would you consider programs that serve children focused on living with a specific chronic condition, or do programs need to be open to a wider population of youth? No. Yes, we would consider we consider programs that are focused with children with special needs, and using that term in a very large way. So it could be a chronic illness, it could be LGBTQ, it could be autism. Oh, I think I hear somebody on the phone. Do you want to ask a question on the phone? No? How would it work if we were applying on behalf of a partnership? Does one org have to be the lead partner and subgrant the funding, or can each org in the partnership receive the funding directly from King County? That's a really good question. We do understand, while we love partnerships and collaboration, one, they're not necessary, but if you do want to do a collaboration and partnership with an organization, you can either do it as a lead with a sub, or the two can apply together with separate funding, so you'd have separate contracts. We understand that sometimes the lead sub contractee can lead to some inequities, so we want to make sure that both organizations are comfortable with the way it's set up. So you all can determine that on your end. Do you accept letters of support? Sure, they're not necessary though. What about if you've had a great success serving adults and have not dived deep into youth services, but see the need and have received requests from youth community and partnerships to provide employment pathway for It is that's a very interesting question. I think we would say that, I think we say that, sorry, we've timed out, but I think we'd say that you can, I would make your case. You know, if you have examples of how your program has been successful for adults and why you think it would be also successful for youth, and you know, some support from the youth and how they would help design the program. I think that, you know, make your case. We'll see. I think it's a possibility. Yeah. If we want to work with a separate CBO who is currently able to serve a specific portion of the youth population in our area, but we want to make sure all populations of youth are served, would you suggest 2 proposals, 1 for each CBO, or 1 proposal with both CBOs collaborate? I think I'm going to have to scroll up a little bit. That's a long question. So if we want to work with a separate CBO who is currently able to serve a specific portion of the population in our area, but we want to make sure everybody is served. Wow. If you apply separately, there is a chance that one of you might get funded and the other one won't. So that's a risk. Then if you apply together, the 200,000 a year cap exists. I would probably suggest that you know, if one is reliant on the other, you would apply together. But again, it's really up to you, your decision. Can we apply for this one and then also apply for the out of school time one for our summer activities also? So summer and after school will be linked. So in order to apply for out-of-school funding, you will have to be able to provide programs after school and also in the summer. So if you're a standalone summer program, I would suggest applying for youth development. Yes, one organization could apply for out-of-school time funding as well as youth development funding, but not for the same program. And when I say that, I say if you have a youth development program that's embedded in your out-of-school program, like say you have an out-of-school program that runs 5 days a week from 3 to 7 every day, and you do that work, but 1 day a week you want to start in that after-school program a mentoring program, and it's 1 day a week for 3 hours. You could apply for funding for that mentoring program, and then apply for the out-of-school time for the larger out-of-school time program. But you can't apply for the same program. Hope that makes sense. With the budget, are there restrictions in terms of re-granting funds to local nonprofits or to school groups or to student groups? I'm not sure what that means. Is that a question about subcontracting? Because that is allowable. You can subcontract if you want to fund a youth-led group. I think that is totally, that's legit. I think if I'm not understanding that correctly, please let me know. Since we will be a collaboration, another question, since we will be a collaboration of several groups coming into this proposal, can we submit one proposal? Yes. I like those answers. Is funding allowable for capacity building and technical assistance? If capacity building, you're talking about staff training and things like that, yes. Yes, especially, I mean, obviously it has to be connected to a program that is supporting youth, and make the case that that is going to improve the outcomes for the youth. Okay, could we include an FTE cost, including possibly new staffing to support this program? Yes! Another easy one. We offer several programs that fit this funding opportunity. Can we apply for multiple programs in a single proposal? At the top of the application for the proposal, you'll see if you're applying for several, let me look at it. It says organizations apply for one or more distinct programs should complete one application per program. Each application will be considered separately on its own merits. So if you have distinct programs, please apply separately. You don't have to apply for the whole 200,000. But I also want to let you all know that each of those applications will kind of be in competition with each other because there's one pot of money. So if you apply for 6 different programs, the 6 will be in that mix. Are there posted examples a good representation of the level of detail expected for the proposal? Ooh, no, not at this time. It's a good idea, though. Write that down. Please consider posting questions and answers. Yes, so we're collecting all the questions that are being asked here, as well as the ones at our in-person information sessions, and we will be posting those. Are collaborations being considered favorably for a broader reach, more to smaller community-based nonprofits? Neither are weighted more. The scoring criteria is in the RFP. That's what we're trying to be as transparent as possible. No points are added to smaller organizations versus collaborations. Are you looking for a certain number of youth to be served each year? No, we don't have a number in mind of number. In our implementation plan, we talk about more and better programming for our youth, and we really want to be reaching more with better programming. If we apply for a program under youth development and it is not funded, can we propose the same program again out of school time if it aligns with out-of-school funding interests? Yes. But please make sure you read the questions. I'm all for cutting and pasting, but make sure you're answering the questions that are asked. We have not developed the application yet for the out-of-school time, so please make sure that it is answering the question. How many youth would expect a CBO to serve annually for a $200,000 award, or is it more nuanced than that? It is more nuanced than that. We have not put per kid cost limit. Some organizations are in different places than others and need funding for different things. So there's no correlation between numbers served and award amounts. Are direct services for youth allowed? Absolutely. We encourage it. More the better. Does the proposal need to support a new program, or can we request funding for a program that we have been self-funding for the past few years? It does not need to be a new program. Yes, we are looking to more and better. Are you looking to fund a certain number of projects in each region of the county? We will be looking at geographic spread. Best Starts for Kids is a county-wide initiative, so we will be looking, but we do not have we don't have numbers in our head of how many we have to serve in each county, in each region of the county. Are there any questions? Did I get through them all? Anybody on the phone want to ask a question? Oh, somebody scroll up a little bit. Nice long question. Okay, if a program is funded under youth development, is it possible to request additional funding for the same program under the out-of-school time, provided it would support a different program component? Example, adding a mentoring component to a program with youth development funding and a school collaboration component with the out-of-school time funding. I do believe that is possible. Yes, if you're enhancing a part of your out-of-school program with the youth development, I think that's okay. If we apply to this RFP, but there's no guarantee. If you get it for youth development, I should say you're not necessarily going to get it for the out-of-school time. If we apply to this RFP now, will it affect our likelihood of being considered for future BSK RFPs? Nope, they're all separate. While we do talk to each other and look at maps and see who's doing what, all the funding buckets are considered separately. Is it okay if our organization serves beyond King County? Yes, but the funding should go to serve kids in King County, as we are a King County initiative. When will the funds be available if funded? Is this reimbursable? That's a very good question. We hope to have contracts in place by October 1. That might be very ambitious, but that's what we would like to do. Again, maybe depending on how many contracts we have. We are still working on what the terms of the contract are going to look like and how we structure it. Again, we're trying to do things a little bit differently for BSK, so we are looking at different structures rather than a strict reimbursable structure. Do you have a rough idea when you will know about the year 3 funding? Oh, this is my first time going through a budget process in King County. I think they have the budget completed by November of the year before, so November of 2018. The initiative for Best Starts for Kids is a property tax levy, and it was passed to be a 6-year levy, and we're in year 2, so that they are legislatively mandated to give us funding. We just can't say exactly how much funding it is. It's also based on property taxes. So if those, tank at the end of 2018, we're going to have to readjust significantly. So that's why we make that that caveat. When will the out-of-school time RFP open? We are thinking it will be in September, mid to late September. That is not set yet. Are there more proposal examples? Some of the examples on the website seem a bit longer, 20 pages. I don't have a proposal example. This is, we're a new initiative, and this is our first time out with the youth development stuff. But that is a great idea for going forward. How discreet does the program need to be? We often work with a number of schools in our school district to work on healthy relationships and bullying prevention. Do you need us to narrow that down to a specific school or a specific age? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to read that question again so I can understand it. How discreet does the program need to be? I think we'd like to know what age group you're working with and what schools you're working with. I think it would be important to have those schools on board to have a strong proposal. But if you need to do it more general, you can. Another long one. Do you know how much money will be available through the out-of-school time RFP? Is there an advantage to waiting for the OST for an after-school program? Well, the full pot is about the same as youth development. It's about $5.5 million for the biennium. Is there an advantage? I don't know of an advantage. Again, people will know about the youth development RFP. That will the announcements will be made prior to the out of school time, right about the same time the out of school time is opening. So you can take that into consideration.
I totally will.
Are there? Yes. So I'm waiting for any more questions. I want to remind you to sign up for our blog if you haven't already. It's the way to get information. Somebody who's on the phone, put themselves on mute because we're getting a lot of feedback. Thanks. I can just, I don't want to mute everybody. We have a Facebook page, we have Twitter, and so you can follow us on those things. Are there any other questions?
I'd be able to put you on as
great. So I wanted to remind you we have three more in-person information sessions. One in Kenmore tomorrow, and 2 next week in Auburn, and Skyway. So if you have more questions or, just want to hang out more, you can come to one of those. If you have other questions that you think of as you're falling asleep tonight, you can email Linda McKinley. Again, her email address is on the front page of the RFP, and she'll get that to the right person. All right? My gosh, we've got 6 whole minutes. No more questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much. And we're really excited about this and looking forward to what you all propose.